What's up everyone, Scotty Combat here, and I've been seeing a lot of AI comparison videos with the old school Mortal Kombat games lately, so what I want to do today is go over some of those with you and share which ones I like, while also looking at different versions of AI recreated Mortal Kombat characters because some of them are really impressive, and with that being said, some of them not so impressive. They did add a tattoo to him that is the AI version, and I don't think it looks bad. They actually threw tattoos on a lot of the UMK3 characters like Scorpion and Reptile, and I didn't care for those ones as much, but I do like the one that I saw here. Because I am being genuine here with this comparison that I think this is a really good one. Liu Kang gets a pass. Now the next one we have here is Jade, and holy crap. Man, I'm actually really impressed by this. In all seriousness, not only does the character look great, the background looks really good as well. I do think it could look better for AI. I'm surprised it doesn't look more clear and detailed. But again, the focus is on the character, right? Not the background. However, with that being said, I would like to see some of these stages AI and enhanced. To Jade here, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10, and there is another reason why I want to share this. I like the small details around the glove, around the armband. You don't see that on the original character, so the added detail is a plus, especially with the hair as well. Yeah, I'm definitely giving Jade a 10 out of 10 on this one. Next character being Johnny Cage. This one throws me off a little bit. Don't get me wrong, again, these characters look fantastic. I really am a big fan of this, but where I gotta give criticism, I gotta give it. Yeah, my biggest criticism with Johnny Cage would be this headset looking thing around his face. That's not a headset, I'm not sure what it is. There's this white dot floating next to his face, and we just don't have that with the original Johnny Cage. That would be different, but I don't see why Johnny Cage would have a headset on during his fights. I gotta give the obvious props, that is the skin detail on the characters, how they look like a real person, how the hair looks decent. I know it's AI, but it looks pretty dang close to a real human. Let me say real quick, I gotta give Johnny an 8 out of 10. I think the character looks great, I just don't know what's going on right here with the headset. Look how good Cyrax looks, except my only criticism would be the helmet. In fact, the cords look more like hair in the back, and to be honest, with how cool it looks, I could live with that. I would say the biggest drawback for me is the visor and how it's red underneath it. I still think it looks really cool. I wouldn't say it's better than the MK1 cameo Cyrax. It looks really good. The helmet throws me off the most. Again, I would prefer the MK1 cameo Cyrax. I think that was pretty good. So I'm gonna give Cyrax an 8 out of 10. And next up we have Sonya Blade, and wow, I would say it actually looks pretty good. Now the elephant in the room for me is that this isn't Carrie Hoskins. Carrie Hoskins is the Sonya Blade for me. Separating that from what this is, I do gotta say this looks really good. The only thing that's really throwing me off here is the freckles. And that's not a bad thing if they are, I'm just wondering if these are actually freckles. Obviously, if it's freckles, it's fine. I just want to be able to tell if that's what it actually is. With how this turned out, I'm gonna give Sonya a 9 out of 10. She looks really good. Next up we have Sub-Zero, and I'm a little mixed on this one. I do have to say the shadows behind the characters have turned out really well. I really am being a little picky here because I do like it. In fact, bonus points for the top shoulders. We've all seen the UMK3 outfits so many times, right? But this is the first time I've seen the top section of it actually overlap the second part a little bit. Instead of being threefold down, it actually has a little bit of overlap, and I really like that. The only thing I'm being picky on is the character's face behind the mask. I would say some more prominent eyebrows, and this would be a 10 out of 10. For those of you that think I'm crazy, I think part of it's my childhood. I'm used to seeing the ninjas with those thick eyebrows. It was mostly from the 95 movies. So seeing it here looks a little puny, but I mean, it's not a deal breaker. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Honestly, most of these look pretty good. Not all of them look good, I will say that. We're gonna move on to Sindel next. And with Sindel here, she does look good. Like, the character looks good, right? I think it looks good. But she doesn't strike me as a Sindel. It looks more, she looks like Sonya again. I'll be honest, I really don't understand AI and how this face works compared to the last face, that is Sonya. I'm using the last female face as reference. I think this one looks really similar. I'm actually really impressed with the hair, how the strands come out, making it look realistic. It almost looks like she's wearing a choker. If so, I think that's a good addition and it's fitting. I think Rain's looking a little cockeyed here. Which I'm not sure why that is, because in the classic adaptation it looks like he's looking straight forward, but in this one he's kind of looking a little inward. If that was the intention, that's cool, but That does throw me off. I would choose him for fun, just as in like a goof character, because he does look a little wonky. Something I do like that I'd like to see more of is the drape that seems to be behind his back. Maybe that's what they were going for with this angle, because it's like a small cape. If so, since he's the Prince of Edenia, I think that would be pretty cool. Honestly, more than really cool, that would be awesome. That's a mixture of UMK3 and then a mixture of the 3D era / NRS era reign. That'd be awesome. That kind of changes everything. If that's a small cape back there, that could be pretty cool. Unfortunately, there's elements covering up the comparison here, like other videos and the channel's tag. So for comparison's sake, it makes it tougher, but I think Milena does look really good here. I give this Milena a 10 out of 10. Everything looks good here. And then Motaro, oh god. I'm gonna keep it real when I say this. When I saw Motaro in Mortal Kombat 1 as a cameo, I was not a fan of his face. In fact, I'm still not a big fan of Motaro in Mortal Kombat 1. I think they did okay by his build, especially his tail. That's important. I think Motaro's build looks fine, but I'm really not a big fan of the face. I would say what really throws me off here is probably the horns. It does look more like a hairstyle. In fact, he does have hair in the middle going back, and then the horns just kind of stop up here, which kind of blends in like a hairstyle. It's weird. He reminds me of a human that's transforming into a werewolf. You know what I'm talking about in some of those shows where they turn into a werewolf, but they don't look like a really cool werewolf. Although it can give the face of MK1 Motaro a run for its money, I would give it a 4 out of 10. We'll look at some better ones, but my god, this, yeah, top comment gets this one, which is MKF, by the way. MKF is amazing. It's a small world seeing his comment here. But yeah, this is definitely the kid that couldn't get his mask on straight. The only thing missing from this outfit is a pillowcase for trick-or-treating candy. This isn't Shao Kahn. This isn't even Spirit Halloween Shao Kahn. This is the kid that couldn't get his mask on right and is holding a trick-or-treat bag. That's what needs added here, is just even like a small bag. That's fine. It doesn't have to be a pillowcase. It's not even obscure in the cool way. It's just very goofy looking. Let's not make this one happen. It really sucks that Motaro and Shao Kahn of all characters are the ones that are your bottom of the barrel for this. Okay, so up next we have Kung Lao, which some of these things look good, but not a whole lot. First thing that sticks out as a giant eyesore to me would be obviously his hat. That's Kung Lao's signature. This Kung Lao's ready to pass the gravy, cut into some turkey. It looks like a pilgrim's hat. I'm really not saying that to try to sound goofy, but imagine that hat being thrown across the screen trying to chop through your character, or it being used in a fatality. It just doesn't look good. The outfit itself does look like one that would come from Spirit Halloween. It seems like the further we're going on this list, the worse that it is getting. The human in the outfit looks fine. It's the outfit itself. Everything just, it does look like Spirit Halloween. It looks more like a garb. It doesn't look like he's wearing suspenders like he actually is in UMK3. Brim doesn't look sharp at all. This looks it looks like cloth. I'm giving this Kung Lao a 2 out of 10, and I would say that's being generous. Now we move on to Jax, and honestly, first impressions, I think this looks great. I mean, this is how Jax appeared when I was younger. Like, these characters looked even more real than what they look like now. I would say my only criticism is the metal arms aren't as convincing as the rest of the outfit, but compare that to some of the other outfits and designs we've seen that this AI has created. I think it looks good. He's got a good clean-cut fade. You can tell this looks like a real person. It's actually really impressive. Again, even the arms look decent. I think they could look better, but I still think they look decent. I'm impressed by it. I do think there could be some room for improvement on the arms, but they're not terrible. I would definitely give this like a 9 out of 10. Next up, we have MK3 Shang Tsung, and I've always liked this version of Shang Tsung. Rating the versions of Shang Tsung throughout the arcade era, my favorites are the old version of Shang Tsung from MK1 and MK3 Shang Tsung. But let's go ahead and rate this one. I do have some drawbacks with it. I think the outfit itself looks fine. My biggest complaint would be the eye makeup. It's just not there. It kind of needs to look like the Crow. It needs to be more prominent. I've been wanting to see this design come back the right way for a long time. Sometimes we get teases of it, like in the Invasions version of MK1. This Shang Tsung looks decent. It's not the one that I want to see reimagined. He looks alright. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Next up, we have Sheeva. And some folks may be looking at Sheeva right now like, that's hideous. That just doesn't look right. I do understand how it does look a little hideous, but I think that's hideous in a good way. She is supposed to look horrifying. Especially growing up with this, Sheeva looked a little uncanny, she looked a little creepy, but in a good way. And I would say this AI does a pretty good job at making that creepy looking face. She looks almost too humanized in MK11. She is supposed to be this freaky looking Kahn that I remember from my childhood, so I actually do like this one. I think it looks like there's a little horn there that needs to be corrected on her forehead. Aside from that, I think it looks pretty decent. I would give this an 8 out of 10. It could be better, but it could definitely be worse. I think this MK3 Sub-Zero actually looks pretty good, to the extent that I prefer this one over the MK1 MK3 adaptation that you could get from the premium store that looks like Bihan. Well, outfit, that might be a toss-up, but for sure the character design definitely looks better. The hair looks better, hell of a lot better. They've always tried going with this slick back hairstyle, which doesn't work very often. It does sometimes, like Deadly Alliance. But yeah, I prefer this one. Never been the biggest fan of this specific design, so I'll give this a 7 out of 10. It's a hard one to work with. Yeah, 7.5 out of 10. We reacted to the original clip, and this one came afterwards, so I'm actually reacting to both of them. He did redo Shao Kahn. Do I think he hit the nail on the head? I don't think it's there yet, but I would say it's pretty close. This does look pretty good. I say this is an acceptable Shao Kahn. If I was fighting against this in game, I would be fine with this. Yeah, I give this Shao Kahn an 8.5 out of 10. He does look pretty decent. Female palette swap characters actually don't look exactly the same. I think they look decent, you know, apart from each other. Katana doesn't have the strands hanging off of some of her clothing like Jade does, and the character does look different. I think she looks great. I would give this a 10 out of 10 as well. Now, it wouldn't be fair to do Katana and Jade without Milena, so Milena genuinely gets a 10 out of 10 here as well. The palette swaps are a lot alike, but the faces are different enough from each other. Not a whole lot, but some. And it's supposed to be that way because they're twins, right? Nightwolf looks really good. He's not 10 out of 10. There's some things here that could be better. I think my bias is saying that this isn't Sal DeVita, but he still looks decent. Like, again, it's Nightwolf. It's fine. I'd give this a 8 out of 10. And I'm giving this Kano a 9 out of 10. That looks like a pretty cool menacing Kano while still staying pretty faithful to the original Kano as well. I really like this. I want to give shout outs again to the creator. Their channel is Kahn, K-A-N-E, and I will be live this evening, so I will see you all live and or in the next video. Much love everyone, and take care.